let me crave your indulgence to admit one more statement from Honorable Member for Medina. On issues about abolishment of death penalty. Yes, Honorable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in December 2020, the plenary session of the United Nations General Assembly saw a record number of states, numbering 123, supporting the adoption of its biennial resolution calling for establishment of a moratorium on execution with a view to fully abolishing the death penalty. Mr. Speaker, there was an increase of 19 votes compared to 2007 when the first United Nations General Assembly resolution on the issue was adopted. According to the 2020 Amnesty International Global Report, at least 483 people were executed in 2020. This is the lowest figure recorded in at least a decade, representing a 26% fall as compared to 67% for 2019 and 70% from the peak of 1,634 executions reported in 2015. In Africa, the boldest step was taken by our sister West African country, Sierra Leone, which voted last week to abolish the death penalty. The Parliament of Sierra Leone has set a precedent that this Parliament can follow. Mr. Speaker, globally, the methods of executions of persons sentenced to death for 2020 comprise of beheading, electrocution, hanging, lethal injection, and shooting. At the end of 2020, at least 28,567 people were known to be under death sentence. In Ghana, statistics from the Ghana Prison Service shows that no executions were carried out in 2020, despite imposition of death sentence on 3 persons by the court. As at the close of 2020, 160 persons comprising 155 men and 5 women were under death sentence. And yesterday, when the Attorney General showed up before this August House, he reported as of yesterday, the number was 166. 9 prisoners also had their death sentences commuted to life imprisonment. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution Review Commission, which was a presidential commission, was set up in January 2010 to consult with the people of Ghana on the provisions of the 1992 Constitution and on any possible reviews that needed to be done to the Constitution. The Commission, on page 645, paragraph 75 of its final report stated, with your permission I quote, "The Commission recommends the replacement of death penalty with imprisonment for life without parole. This recommendation was as a result of a wide-range dissatisfaction of Ghanaians with the provisions of death penalty on our statute books." Mr. Speaker, on page 44 of Government's White Paper on the Constitutional Review Commission, Government of Ghana stated its position as follows, with the permission I quote, "Government accepts the recommendation of the Constitutional Review Commission that the death penalty in Article 3 of the Constitution be completely abolished and that the penalty be replaced with imprisonment for life. The sanctity of life is a value so much ingrained in the Ghanaian social psyche that it cannot be gambled away with judicial uncertainties." Mr. Speaker, the need to completely abolish the penalty is grounded on the fact that people could be killed only for a future evidence to exonerate them. In order to err on the side of caution, therefore, and on account of fallibilities, imperfections, and frailties of our judicial system, we are safer completely doing away with the death penalty from our statute books. Mr. Speaker, there are 2 ways to deal with the abolition of death penalty from our law books. We could do it by way of constitutional amendment or by amendment of various provisions in the Criminal and Other Offences Act that prescribe death penalty as a punishment. Article 3 of the 1992 Constitution is an entrenched provision, and any amendment will require referendum. This might be the reason for delays in operationalizing the Government White Paper on recommendation of the Constitutional Review Commission. The second approach, which I believe could yield a speedy result, would be an amendment of Act 29 that would lead to about 95% abolition of death penalty without constitutional amendment. This position has been forcefully argued by the Amnesty International Ghana and human rights lawyers like lawyer Martin Pebu. And Right Honorable Speaker, yesterday when the Honorable Attorney General was here, in his answer, he made it clear that the amendment of the Criminal and Other Offences Act is right within the remit of this Honorable House. Mr. Speaker, constitutional amendment of an entrenched provision comes with cost, the need for resourcing NCCE to educate citizens, funds and logistics to the Electoral Commission to conduct the said referendum, among many others. This could be avoided by simple amendment of various death penalty provisions in Act 29. Mr. Speaker, the death penalty inflicts not only immense psychological pain and torture on accused and convicted persons and assassination officers, but also smacks of practices of backward societies. In view of this, it is worth pointing out that Ghana has not applied death penalty since 1993. Accordingly, Ghana has been described by 2020 Amnesty International Global Report on Death Penalty as being death penalty abolitionist in practice. Therefore, there is the need to amend Section 46, 49, 49A, 180, 194, and 317A of the Criminal and Other Offences Act to achieve the 95% abolition of the death penalty. Very respectfully, Right Honorable Speaker, in 2011, while delivering the judgment of the Supreme Court in the case of Jester Johnson versus the Republic, 2011 to Supreme Court of Ghana Law Report at page 601, the court, through Justice Doche JSC, said, and I quote, "The time has possibly come for the Parliament of Ghana to seriously consider whether to have a policy shift in the mandatory death penalty regime imposed on those convicted of murder. It is only Parliament which can consider an amendment of the Criminal and Other Offences Act, Act 29, unquote." Mr. Speaker, more than 10 years down the line, Parliament, which is the legislative arm of government, is yet to take any major step in this direction. But today, the 8th Parliament has an opportunity to change the course of history in Ghana. We have an opportunity to show that we are pro-life. We have an opportunity to show that we cannot condemn killing and yet use killing as a mode of punishment. We have an opportunity to join Sierra Leone as shining examples in West Africa and on the African continent by completely removing death penalty from our statute book. Mr. Speaker, I therefore call on members of Parliament, major stakeholders and interest groups to support the private members' bill that has been submitted to this House and admitted by the Speaker of this House to begin the process of abolishing death penalty from our statute book. Respectfully submitted, Mr. Speaker. I'm most grateful for the opportunity to make this statement.
Yes, very well.